Why are mechanically minded American boaters quietly buying 25-year-old two-stroke outboards instead of brand new four-strokes? It is not nostalgia. It is not a price stunt. It is a real, practical, financial calculation that the marine industry would prefer you ignored. Tournament anglers, charter captains, weekend boaters who have owned both old and new. They have run the numbers, run the engines, and reached a conclusion. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what they figured out. Somewhere in upstate Michigan, there is a man we will call Dick who has owned the same 1995 Johnson 9.9 two-stroke for 31 years. He bought it second-hand for $400 and has used it on the same pontoon every summer since. Across those 31 years, he has replaced exactly one set of points and a water pump impeller every few seasons, which is to say, almost nothing at all. The motor still starts on the second pull every spring, the way it has since the Clinton administration. 3 years ago, Dick made the mistake every man with a good outboard eventually makes. He listened to a salesman. The new Mercury four-stroke was quieter and cleaner, but it was also considerably heavier, which Dick noticed every time he lifted it on and off the boat, and a great deal more expensive, which he noticed every time he checked his bank balance. Then, on the 4th of July, 2 days before his grandson came up to the lake, the Mercury simply stopped starting, and the nearest authorized service center was a week behind. While the Mercury sat at the dealer, the old Johnson came out of the garage, started on the second pull, and pulled the grandson through his first water ski run. Behind the engine Dick had been told was obsolete. So Dick is not unusual. He is the rule. And right across America, the owners who lived through both eras are reaching the same conclusion. A clean 25-year-old Yamaha 152-stroke in good running condition sells for between $5,000 and $8,000 on the used market. A brand new Yamaha 150 four-stroke retails for over $15,000 before rigging and dealer prep. That is a price gap north of $7,000 on the same hull, on the same boat, doing the same job. $7,000 buys a lot of impellers and a great deal of peace of mind. It also buys a backup tank of fuel, a new propeller, a winter cover, and a year of marina fees with money to spare. The 25-year-old motor has already taken its big depreciation hit. The previous owner absorbed the loss. The current buyer is purchasing close to the long-term floor value, while the new four-stroke loses 30% the moment it leaves the dealer. 5 years from now, the used two-stroke will be worth roughly what was paid for it. The four-stroke will be worth half. Anyone who has ever sold a boat understands the maths. A two-stroke is fundamentally simpler than a four-stroke. Fewer moving parts, no valve train, no camshaft, no timing belt or chain to fail, no oil sump to develop sludge, no oil filter to forget to change. A two-stroke mixes oil with the fuel and burns it as it goes. And the maintenance is simple enough that any reasonably competent owner with a basic toolkit can keep one running indefinitely from the kitchen counter. A four-stroke outboard, by comparison, is essentially a small marine car engine. It has every component a car engine has. It develops every problem a car engine develops, and when it does, the owner has very few options outside a dealer service center, because the diagnostic computer alone costs more than most people will ever spend on hand tools. A two-stroke Yamaha 150 weighs around 375 pounds. A four-stroke Yamaha 150 weighs around 480 pounds. That is more than a 100-pound difference hanging off the back of the boat. On a small skiff or a lightweight bass boat, that 100 pounds changes the boat's behavior completely. The bow rides higher, the stern sits lower. The whole shot, which is the time it takes to plane out from a standstill, gets noticeably worse. Two-strokes also make their power early. A two-stroke at half throttle is already producing useful torque. The boat plane comes up fast, the skier comes out cleanly, and the engine settles into a comfortable cruise without complaining. A four-stroke produces its power higher up the rev range. The whole shot takes longer. The skier sits in the water for an extra second or two, which on a competitive day matters. A man on the Antique Outboard Motor Club forum reports pulling 3 teenage skiers out of the water behind a 1960 Johnson 40 horsepower 2-stroke. Doing the same behind a 40 horsepower 4-stroke would, in his words, require a thicker rope and a calmer Saturday. Tournament base anglers feel the same difference at the boat ramp. The 2-stroke is on plane and gone before the 4-stroke has finished trimming up. Across an 8-hour day, that adds up. 2-stroke values in the base community have been climbing rather than falling. A 1995 Johnson, Evinrude, Mercury or Yamaha 2-stroke can still be repaired with parts you can find on eBay, at marine swap meets, in the back rooms of independent boat yards in every coastal state in the country. Carburetor rebuild kits, water pump impellers, ignition coils, points, condensers, all of it is still readily available, often for less than $50 per part. A modern 4-stroke that needs a fuel injector or an electronic control module after the warranty expires is a very different financial conversation. The 2-stroke economy is decentralized. Anyone with a workshop can keep one running. There are forums dedicated to specific model years, mechanics in every coastal town who learned on these motors and still know them by heart, and entire eBay storefronts run by retired marine technicians selling new old stock parts at fair prices. The 4-stroke economy runs through dealer service centers with proprietary diagnostic computers and parts that have to be ordered from regional warehouses. A blown injector on a 4-stroke can sit in the queue for 6 weeks during peak season. A blown coil pack on a 2-stroke can be replaced on a Saturday morning with a $15 part from the local hardware store. There is a reason every serious base tournament boat in the southern United States carries a spare set of spark plugs, a water pump impeller, and a tube of marine grease in the locker. None of those parts cost more than $30 combined, and any one of them can put a stranded boat back on the water before the day is over. The economics are not even close, and the time savings matter even more. A 2-stroke at cruise burns roughly 30 to 40% more fuel than a 4-stroke of equivalent horsepower. On a small lake on a Saturday afternoon, that is a few extra dollars. On a long offshore run with a 40-gallon tank, that is the difference between making it home and calling for assistance. Anyone running long offshore distances on a regular basis is going to feel the fuel bill in a way that completely erases the savings on the purchase price within a few seasons. Run the numbers on a charter operation in the Bahamas burning 200 gallons a week, and the 4-stroke pays for itself in fuel savings inside about 3 years. A captain running a 30-mile trip out to a wreck and back 3 days a week through the season is looking at a meaningful difference at the end of the year. The 2-stroke makes economic sense for the recreational owner doing 50 hours a year. It does not make economic sense for the commercial operator doing 500 hours a year. The other detail nobody mentions is that 2-strokes consume 2-stroke oil. Not a huge cost, but a real one. A gallon of decent 2-stroke oil at $25 and a typical 50-to-1 fuel mix means roughly an extra 50 cents per gallon of fuel burned. Over a season, the oil bill alone is a few $100s the 4-stroke owner never pays. Use case is everything. Now, the next problem is the one that wakes a great many older outboards up in storage. 2-strokes built before about 2005 were designed to run on regular leaded or low ethanol gasoline. Modern American pump fuel contains up to 10% ethanol, and ethanol does very particular things to old rubber fuel lines, brass carburetor jets, and fiberglass fuel tanks. The fuel separates if it sits for a few weeks. The carburetor varnishes, the fuel pump diaphragm hardens. None of these problems are catastrophic, but they are real, they are constant, and they require either ethanol-free fuel, which is not always available, or fuel stabilizer added to every tank. Then there is the regulatory side. 2-strokes produce significantly higher hydrocarbon emissions than 4-strokes. The Environmental Protection Agency regulated against new 2-stroke production in America from 2006 onwards, and certain Californian and Pacific Northwest waterways now restrict 2-stroke operation outright. A motor that is perfectly legal in Texas may not be welcome at certain Lake Tahoe marinas. The same goes for parts of Crater Lake in Oregon, parts of the High Sierra Lake system in California, and a growing list of inland waterways where carbureted two-strokes have been banned outright. Direct fuel injection two-strokes from Mercury Optimax and Evinrude E-Tech lines remain legal nearly everywhere because they meet modern emissions standards. The older carbureted units do not. Anyone planning to use a boat across multiple state borders needs to check the local rules first, and anyone buying for use in environmentally sensitive areas should look specifically at the DFI variants. The regulations are only getting tighter, not looser. So the most overlooked drawback of all is the one that catches first-time buyers completely off guard. 25-year-old two-strokes is only a bargain if the previous owner actually maintained it. There are a great many 25-year-old two-strokes for sale right now that have been sitting in barns since 2010 with stale fuel in the carburetor, water in the lower unit, and a powerhead that is one cold start away from a complete rebuild. The savings of buying old evaporate the moment the engine needs an internal job at a specialist shop. The buyer who walks into a deal without taking the time to do a compression test, a leak down check, and a full visual inspection of the powerhead and lower unit is the buyer who turns a $5,000 bargain into a $9,000 mistake. A complete two-stroke rebuild at a reputable shop runs between $3,000 and $5,000 depending on the powerhead size and how much salt water has gotten into places it should not be. A new lower unit can run $2,000 on its own. The right way to buy one of these motors is the slow way. Pay a marine surveyor a few $100s to look it over. Check the spark plugs for fuel fouling color. Run it under load on a hose for at least 30 minutes. Listen for a smooth idle, no smoke beyond a faint blue, and no hesitation when the throttle is opened up. Pull the lower unit drain plug and check for milky oil, which is the universal sign that water has gotten in past the seals. Skip any of these checks and the bargain becomes a regret very quickly. The owners who buy these motors successfully are the ones who treat the inspection as more important than the price negotiation. Now, all of which leaves one important question. The 15-year-old two-stroke is the right answer for a very specific kind of American buyer. The owner who runs a small to medium boat on local lakes or inshore salt water. The owner who is mechanically competent or willing to learn and would rather spend a Saturday morning rebuilding a carburetor than dropping the boat at a dealer for 2 weeks. The owner who values reliability over refinement and torque over top-end smoothness. The base tournament angler who needs a hole shot. The pontoon owner who runs 10 miles a weekend and never goes far enough to feel the fuel bill. The charter captain in the Keys who cannot afford to be down for 7 days waiting on a service appointment. The skiff owner in coastal North Carolina who needs a motor that will start at 5 in the morning in November when the dealer is closed and the next nearest service center is 40 miles away. The cottage owner whose 95 Johnson started on the second pull 20 years ago and is still starting on the second pull today. For all of these owners, the older two-stroke is not a compromise. It is genuinely the better tool for the job, and they know it because they have used both. So there is also a very specific kind of buyer who should not even consider it. The owner who runs 60 nautical miles offshore every weekend, where the fuel bill matters and the weight saving does not. The owner who has never picked up a wrench and has no intention of starting now. The owner who keeps their boat at a high-end marina with strict emissions rules. The owner who needs a quiet engine for early morning fishing in residential coves where neighbors complain about exhaust noise. The owner who simply wants to buy a boat, turn the key, and not think about the engine for the next 10 years. The owner who hands the boat to their teenager and wants the engine idiot-proof. For all of these people, the four-stroke is the better answer, and the extra $10,000 is genuinely worth it. The four-stroke is quieter at idle, smoother at cruise, and produces no visible smoke or oil smell. Nobody is suggesting the four-stroke is a bad engine. It is a brilliant piece of engineering and it does its job well. It is simply not the right engine for everyone, and a great many Americans have realized they fall into the other category. Now that leaves the final argument that brings everything together. The reason 25-year-old two-strokes hold their value and in some cases are appreciating in the used market is that there is a generation of American boaters who have lived through both eras and made up their minds. They are not nostalgic. They are not contrarians. They are practical people who have run the numbers, broken down on the water, paid the dealer bill, and reached a quiet conclusion. The new motor is sometimes better. The old motor is almost always sufficient. And for the kind of boating most Americans actually do, sufficient is a great deal more valuable than impressive. Dick is on his Johnson again. The Mercury sits in the garage gathering dust, technically newer, factually slower to start. The grandson is asking for an outboard for his 18th birthday, and Dick has already decided which one he is buying. It is a 1998 Mariner 60-horse two-stroke that a friend has been keeping running since new. Smart money is not always new money. Sometimes the smart money is the money that already knows the answer. So the next time someone tells you the new four-stroke is the only sensible choice, remember Dick on the second pull and his grandson learning to ski behind a 31-year-old motor. If you want to see what the smartest used boat buyers are actually picking up right now, check out the video on screen titled 15 Old Boat Styles You Need to See. There are some serious bargains hiding in the photos.